time for Motohop on Air.
Welcome to episode 15.
Yay.
Nothing better?
I didn't really think about it.
Okay.
I'm ill-planned. I had lots of other stuff to study and read and do, and
It's okay.
it's 11 o'clock.
It's
It's late
11.
tonight.
It is December 8th.
So it's
Day late.
Friday night.
Yep, Friday night, and right on time at 11 p.m.
Yawn.
Yep, killing it. Well, let's start with what's in the cup, or what's in your cup, which is,
Very exhilarating.
yeah,
It is water,
that's okay.
because I went to the gym tonight,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't usually do on Wednesdays when we record, and I decided water makes me a better person, so I'm drinking water.
Oh, well, I decided, so we had gotten that, it's Eggo branded eggnog.
Yeah.
So I decided I wanted that. But then I realized, well, I should probably put a little splash of Fireball in it. And then I realized
Ugh.
that's probably just bad for recording because it's going to make me like phlegmy. So
Ugh.
I went ahead and poured that anyways. And then I also poured a tequila sunrise. So I'll make up for what you're not.
That both sounds awful. Well, I mean, the tequila sunrise sounds good, but like,
I figure like light and
It's like
citrusy in contrast with
it's
milky eggnog.
my go-to mixed drink anytime you're like forced into like a wedding or something like that. It's like a safe thing, but it's like Friday night and I'm in my pajamas. Not the tequila sunrise vibe for me, but I love that for you.
I will
I
say,
like your fancy cup, and I think you have a nog deficiency. You're not drinking nearly as much as you normally do.
I know. I'm trying to catch up. And I will say, if you like eggnog on the alcoholic end of the spectrum, the Eggo nog is rather good.
Unrefrigerated, found in a mason jar somewhere, maybe at your local
Liquor?
grocer retailer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, did they have it in the liquor store too?
Well, no, but isn't that where you got it?
No,
in the
I got
liquor
it at
section?
Giant Eagle.
Yeah, but was it in the liquor
No,
area?
it was by
Oh.
the waffles.
Okay.
Honestly, it was on some random end cap. They probably have it
It's
more than
delicious.
one place though.
Yeah.
It'd make a cool
Highly
gift,
recommend.
honestly, too. It's
Yeah.
like kind of a cute, cool kind of packaging. So save the wine, take the nog
Yeah.
this year.
Before we get into stuff, recall at the top of the show, CF Moto.
Woo, woo, woo. I feel like we should have something for that.
Yeah, we'll get some sound effect for it. CF Moto is recalling, let me get it pulled up here, 2022 through 2023 700 CL-X models. Not all of them, certain ones. Like always, check the NHTSA website. You can throw your VIN in, they'll let you know if you're affected or not. It is an issue with the software settings in the ABS control module that may delay braking when the hand brake lever is squeezed twice or more times, lengthening the distance required to stop. I have not seen any like do not rides. I believe one article
There's very
said
few riding
something-
happening right now in the Midwest, but there
Oh,
are
sure,
more.
but this is the rest of the U.S., not just here.
I know. I just had to chuckle. Sorry.
That's okay. But I think, like I said, one of the articles I was reading mentioned it only increases. It's like a 0.3 second delay. So it kind of depends on how fast you're riding.
0.3.
Yeah. So a little less than half a second delay.
Enough to spook you.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now that the recall's out of the way, before we jump into news, Motocompacto updates.
I don't have any. You got some?
I do. So after the last show, I had mentioned that the dealer I'd pre-ordered through said to potentially expect it December 1st.
And
And
when
on
did you hear
December
back
1st,
from them?
I woke up to an email
In all caps.
that they had been delayed till February of 24.
Did you cry?
No, but
Did you rage a little?
I was a little upset.
A little ragey?
Yeah, a
It's
little
all right.
ragey.
We can talk
Honda's
feelings.
seemingly has kind of botched almost every portion of this that they could, as far as this launch is concerned.
You mean the launch? Let's
Yeah.
okay.
So like the app isn't done. dealers aren't getting the stock they expected to get, etc. So over the weekend, I was contemplating other things to do with the Motocompacto money. If I wasn't getting a Motocompacto till February, Monday rolls around.
We could have taken a trip.
Well,
That wasn't
you could have spoke up.
Luckily, we didn't really have to think too long.
No, Monday rolls around. I get a second email.
In all caps.
In all caps.
Because we're dealing with a... What did you say?
I don't know. I haven't met him. I don't know.
Oh, no.
Nope.
That doesn't paint the picture. He's got to be at least 70. Who writes in all caps?
Some people.
Boomers.
Yeah. But Monday morning, another email that their Acura store got Motocompactos in and to let them know when I wanted to go pick one up.
And you said, I'm in the parking lot.
No, I gave him a big window and said, let me know when works best for you. And he said, well, you can just stop by whenever. When the first email made it sound like they needed time to do paperwork. Mm-hmm. So I showed up to the Acura dealer.
Like an hour later.
Yeah, it was like an hour later.
Mm-hmm.
Parts counter guy was rather flustered.
With you or in general?
Specifically about the Motocompactos, because he didn't realize they were coming in. He didn't realize people were coming to get them. There was a woman that morning that apparently showed up like right when they opened or near to them opening and was picking up two.
So obviously someone called her last night.
No, I think she just got to her email before I got to my email.
Oh.
But, so he's flustered. I joke around with him. He goes and gets the Motocompacto.
What did he need to do? Why
so they
is he
have
so upset?
Well, part of it is he just has like parts coming in, people were getting them, they hadn't sorted it out, he didn't know what was going on. People just show up and start asking for items. He didn't understand what the flow of these, Motocompactos
I guess
were.
like the salespeople aren't probably communicating with the people that are actually selling them. They're just trying to get people off their back.
Sales is not involved.
Oh, the person you heard from wasn't sales.
No, it's only the parts department. This is a part number delivered through the parts department.
Okay, so the guy who contacted you is not communicating with the guy who's actually selling them, apparently.
The Honda parts counter was not communicating with the Acura parts counter. But the Honda parts counter told all the customers they could go to the Acura parts counter.
Of course.
Yeah. So he grabs the Motocompacto. And then I had done enough reading across Reddit and the internet to know that it is important that your dealer registers your Motocompacto. They have a registration process. And he's like, well, I'm going to grab some of your information in case I need to register it. And I'm like, no, you do need to register it. Not maybe. Like, you're going to need my information. They ended up calling back later to get the rest of the information they didn't get because they did have to register it. But yes, Motocompacto in hand. Waited till that night to do a little unboxing. Link will be in the show notes. It is up on the Instagram.
It's on the interwebs.
Yeah. So, I guess, let's see. What did we... Yeah, first impressions. Oh, hold on. I'm skipping over a part.
Okay.
Parts counter guy. So we're talking. So I'm trying to keep the mood light because he was frustrated.
You said, there, little bear.
Yeah. He made it sound like... So when I first pre-ordered this, I was told they were getting 10. They had to keep 2. Didn't say exactly why. I assume display units or whatever. And that they had 8 to sell, and I was number 8 of the 8.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what they told you.
Yes. Were you going to interject something else, or?
No, I was just going to help people with the math with the 8, and then you had already said that. So
okay.
Carry on.
So, Acura parts counter guy made it sound like maybe somewhere between me pre-ordering this thing in early November and, well, what date was it? December like 3rd or 4th or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. Maybe some employees realized they were really cool because they gave one away at the employee Christmas party.
Which we don't know when that was.
We don't know when that was. Well, he said, I think the week previous.
Okay.
and that maybe some employees were able to buy them. And maybe that's why I didn't get mine on Friday.
That is a little slimy.
Bit of a bummer. Well, the bummer part for me is I know people. Mm-hmm. Like the people I reached out to start this process are customers of mine at my day job.
Yeah, well, I guess you didn't get very expedited service.
And I do right by my customers. So if that truly was the case, it's kind of a bit of a bummer.
Also known as we're never buying a car there.
Yeah. But he then was like, be careful. One of the service guys, I'm guessing the one who won the Motocompacto at their Christmas party, wrecked one. It sounded like riding through the service department that has like tile floors that were wet. The other thing to keep in mind here that I told you was after he tells me about all the employees wrecking these things, I'm like, the frame you have to think of all this in, though, is this is a car dealer, not a motorcycle dealership.
Right.
They likely have limited two-wheel experience. And 15 miles an hour on 8-inch wheels is a drastically different experience than like 60 on 20. Or like, 21, 18, whatever, normal motorcycle
like
tire.
Plastic wheels. They remind me of like Little Tykes vehicles. Is kind of
no, they're like a rubbery compound, but it's solid. They're not air filled.
Okay, I was gonna say it sounds plasticky when you like hit the brake. Sounds like when I was a kid and like you'd throw like a stick in your wheel in order to make it slow down.
Yeah.
But the thing is like he didn't come out and say like, oh, we had some. He was just like joshing around with you. I was like, don't worry, we've crashed 5 of them. Like,
well,
yours didn't come in on time. And it's just kind of like, buddy, I can count. And
yeah, he told me about one of the higher ups, like riding one. And then he told me about the service guy riding one. And he kind of stopped short of telling me the entirety of like Motocompactos came in and where they went. Because from everything I've understood from other dealership employees posting on the internet and other people acquiring their Motocompactos, dealerships basically were getting increments of 5. Mm-hmm. So it was like 5, 10, whatever, right? So they wouldn't have just got 2.
Yeah.
So even if they only got 5 when he originally was expecting 10,
there was 10.
3 went somewhere. Now, I was number 8, so fine. But the 10, it sounded like that came into the Acura were all spoken for.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So, first impressions. It's pretty cool. The brake is going to sound like death at first. It gets better as it beds in.
It sounds better?
Yeah, it sounds better already than it did the first time.
So it was just plastic on plastic before.
No, it's a drum brake. Like you have the brake material has to conform to the drum it's within.
Okay, that's
None of
fine.
the braking system is plastic.
But I will swear by the fact it sounds like a little tight car. Like,
I mean,
like when your shoe rubs against a little tight tire to stop it. Like that's what the brake sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, it does not sound confidence inspiring. I'll tell you that.
No, I wouldn't try to stop suddenly by any means.
You couldn't if you wanted to.
And you're not even going that fast. It's just like such limited braking area.
Yeah, the drum brake definitely, I think, is going to need some time to bed in.
So the first night you rode it, you opened it up in the living room.
Yep.
Rode it down the hallway.
Yep.
And you said, I'm taking this bad boy outside for a spin.
Yes, in the snowy, wintry mix.
Yeah. Not exactly the warmest day of the year, but that's all we got.
Yeah.
And since it does have a headlight, which I was unaware.
A kick-ass headlight.
Probably better than my last car.
Yes. Better than your last Honda Civic. Yeah.
Better than both of my last car's headlights. So you were able to ride it outside a little bit. And luckily we live on a dead-end street, so not a soul in sight. On a freshly paved road.
Yeah.
Quite a luxurious
place to test it. Yeah, for sure.
What would you call it? First, what's that called?
Impression?
No, like the voyage. Maiden voyage?
Yeah, maiden voyage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Maiden voyage. A little vroom vroom down the street. Now, what was your first impressions when you rode it? Do you remember?
So that was the first, like, now granted, I joke about owning an EV now. Like,
barely,
right? But it's a funny thing. But it was the first time that I've experienced electric acceleration, I think, ever, outside of like some stand-up scooters and
Roller
maybe
coasters.
a hybrid.
Roller coasters?
Yeah, or, technically some trains.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. It's like a 250 watt hub motor. I think it's like 490 watts peak. It is interesting how it propels itself. It's obviously not like breakneck speed, or acceleration, but it is interesting how linear it is.
Well, it's so small,
it just like wills itself into motion. It's intriguing.
Maybe it's the Christmas spirit just driving it.
Yeah. The seat is horrendous. Horrendous.
Maybe it'll break it.
Well, so the funny part, I showed you, if you go into the Motocompacto app, I don't know if this was like something they were trying to do early on and the artwork never got updated before the production model got out the door, but in the app, the seat is way bigger. It is like a tractor, like saddle seat that folds down the middle. So it can fold in half to fit down in the gap of the Motocompacto.
Oh.
That is not what it came with.
Nope. It's like
came
a little
with like a
teeny tiny bar stool.
4.5 by 6 inch like rectangular pad.
Yeah, and if like kind of like your butt bones, it's like minimum
sit
coverage of your like pelvis.
Yes.
It's not like, let me make you comfortable. It's like, let me just keep this pole from going up.
Yeah, that is 100% what it is trying to make sure the seat post does not make any progress vertically. Yeah. I guess before I get into more of my thoughts, so I rode it up and down the street. Then I'm not going to say forced, but highly suggested you should ride it as well.
Oh, I didn't know you were forcing me.
Well, no, but like you seemed a little reluctant at first, but
Well, I mean, like just because it was like your toy, and like after I heard about people crashing it, I don't want to be the kid to crash the toy, on. It was literally, you hadn't even seen it in daylight yet. I don't want to like
it's okay.
slide into something. That's what you say, but it wouldn't be okay. I would feel horrible.
Yeah,
so it was more or less the fear of, I don't know, the unknown, hitting a deer or something. That could happen on a road.
Yeah.
Our deer are domesticated. So like he'd probably hit me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was just kind of like, well, that and it was cold, but I mean, it's very small. It does, I think it accelerates really fast for like a city vehicle. I've never been
For what it is.
open aired in a city. To think like it would probably be fast. Like I feel like I'd be just as confident on that as I would on an actual bicycle in the city, because a bicycle has bigger tires. You could go faster, but like you're not going to want to because you're going to be stopping all the time, crosswalks and that sort of thing. So I do feel like to have one of those bad boys in an airport.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? If there wasn't like crash risk with hitting other stupids, not denying I could be one of the stupids. There's like so many different things, like you sit on it and it's quiet and it's smooth. Airport would be the best example, or a mall. It's like one step above mobility scooter.
Yeah. So the whole like versus a bicycle in a city thing, I will say, unless someone is actively trying to beat you across an intersection, someone pedaling at a normal pace, I think you'd beat them across an intersection on it.
I think you'd have more confidence to accelerate quicker. I think it'd take you a lot longer to accelerate on a bicycle because you kind of got to get that momentum. But you know what this would be really cool as, which also dangerous, if you provided these to elderly people when they were in denial about meeting a mobility scooter. Maybe you put like a governor on it or something there, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
How cool is that if you were like an 80-year-old man and you're like, my hips hurt, but I'm not handicapped.
And you're like, how's your balance?
I don't know. I feel like an average like man
Yeah.
at least could like easily ride that. You know, like no big deal.
Yeah.
But a really cool like fun mobility scooter that's not quite like, you know, admitting to handicap, but like, yeah, I don't want to
Sure.
walk. Like
Yeah.
I need a little help. So nursing homes, watch out.
Yeah. So the one thing I will say is I forgot to put them in the notes. Maybe we'll talk about it a bit next week. I delved into the laws.
Dove,
Whatever. I don't know.
Dove.
Yeah. I forget exactly what Ohio classifies it as. I think I still have it pulled up on my phone.
You mean like if you were to try to ride this thing somewhere?
Yes. So what
think
is
we need
interesting
to-
is all of the areas you actually can ride them.
That's good. I feel like last time I was at the towpath, there wasn't a blatant restriction of motorized vehicles. Like
So
at every entrance, anyways, you
It-
could play stupid.
yeah, it is categorized as a low-speed micro-mobility device.
Mobility, see?
Yes.
Like I said, if you're like even like an amputee or something, like you don't want to be in an average wheelchair. Like make it fun.
So
People are gonna
here's the
stare. Give them
difference.
something to stare at.
Here's the difference between it and a bicycle.
Uh-huh.
In most areas, a bicycle, especially when a bike lane is provided, is not allowed to ride on the sidewalk.
Okay.
This is allowed to be in either.
Neither.
Either.
Oh,
You
okay,
can
so
be
neither.
in the bike lane or on the sidewalk
Whichever's fastest and there's the least amount of
or in the street.
stuff. You know, Akron has a bike.
You can be virtually anywhere you want to be legally with this thing.
I'd wear a helmet if I was in the city.
Yes.
We haven't really, I mean, I don't know. I guess you should probably pretend to wear a helmet everywhere, but just going a few miles an hour around a road when there's literally no one here, well, I didn't see it as a risk. But you know, Akron has bike lanes now downtown.
Yeah.
Towpath would be super fun because that goes kind of nonstop.
Yeah. The reason this kind of, I think the reason they ended up putting lights on this
Mm-hmm.
is so it fell into this category.
Oh.
Because they're required to have a front-facing light that's visible from at least 500 feet and at least a red reflector on the rear that's visible from 100 to 600 feet.
Well, and it does have a brake light.
So, yeah, that was the one thing I wasn't sure. I knew from what I had seen it was going to have at least a tail light, but it actually has a brake light as well.
Yeah, pretty bright. Pretty great.
Now, the one big downside is the entire lack of suspension.
Yeah, it's definitely made for like nice concrete.
Smooth surfaces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I've
on
taken it up and down the driveway a couple times, which
which
is
is
gravel.
quite large gravel, somewhat loose in places.
Yeah. Not ideal. It'll do it.
So you think it
I
would
hope-
survive vintage days?
It depends on how rutted it gets back in the campground.
Yeah.
With the exception of when they soak down the campground and make it muddy,
Ugh.
it
you would
is
not want to rinse that
arguably
off.
a fantastic vehicle for there because you have bright ass headlight, you have taillight and brake light.
It's true. The lighting would be a huge advantage.
But I'm hoping at some point someone comes up with like an aftermarket tire option.
Yeah.
Maybe that holds air or is a softer foam compound.
Yeah.
That
would help with the
yeah.
push. But let's say Mid Ohio. I mean, you haven't really looked too much underneath, but to clean it though, Mid Ohio's
The
nasty.
bottom is pretty sealed. I'll tell you the area that seems to be collecting dirt already.
Inside, above.
So the inner edge of the front fender area and
Mhm.
immediately behind it. But otherwise,
It's a little
doesn't seem
different,
that
like getting
bad.
a little bit of like road dust as compared to Mid Ohio filth.
it has light mud on it currently.
Yeah, from flicked up from the road, but not from riding through dirt.
No, I mean just like the dust from like the gravel driveway when I've ridden it up
Yeah.
and down it a couple times with
But
the
like I
moisture.
said, Mid
Yeah.
Ohio's so gross.
Yeah, it can get bad, especially when they wet down the campground.
Yeah.
It's not going to cut it then.
I think it would only be good for like maybe the first day before, if you rode it before like peak.
Yeah. I will say it is fitting because it's a Honda that is front wheel drive.
Is that normal?
Well, your Civic was front-wheel drive. They make a lot of front-wheel drive vehicles. The downside of front-wheel drive is when you're sitting on a seat post that is in the rear of the vehicle and the pegs are mid-mounted and even the handlebars are not directly above it, the majority of your weight is not on the front tire. And if you combine the slightest incline with any friction modifier, a little bit of rain, a loose surface, you have to lean forward actively over the handlebars to keep it from just spinning the tire.
You can also see a video of that on Instagram.
Yeah, you can watch me try and ride up the driveway.
And the best part is he didn't know I was recording it, so it's like super candid. Like, it's not acted out or anything.
Yeah.
It's like
no,
the
it
real
looks
deal.
dumb. Like I was leaning forward and had to carry speed to get up the little incline of our driveway.
Like if you were like actually racing, you know, they like tuck under in order to like limit wind resistance. That's what it looks like.
It's a
doing.
port tuck, yeah.
Womp womp. Okay, so
The other...
yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna go on and like continuing questions and drilling you.
Yeah. Second impressions?
Yeah, like how do you still feel about it?
So,
Like, I mean,
the next day, I took it out in the daylight.
yes, while I was working, I think.
Yep.
Got the dogs all riled up.
Got to play around with it some more. Road was drier. The one thing I realized was because EVs are so quiet, you cannot get away with crappy build quality because you hear everything.
Like rattling of like
The rattling of the plastic as it vibrates because there's no suspension on the bike.
Oh.
Yeah.
So the body's just plastic.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's like crappy build quality. I'm just saying you can hear it rattling.
So how much is a
because
regular?
It's so quiet.
Do you know how much a regular like scooter is? What were those called? Bird or something?
You can get a stand-up scooter. I've seen them. I think the lowest I've seen is like $350 or $400, all the way up to as much as you can imagine someone out there selling one for that much, probably.
Okay, so first one that came up was $500.
Yeah.
You get a set of two for
But-
$760.
But here's the problem with that.
They're also around.
Is it made by
400.
Honda?
No. Why-
Do you get to look like you're riding a folding table?
You could literally just put a folding table on it or a briefcase.
Yeah.
Some people like, oh, this one's got a little carrier. So
But-
you could easily get an electric. Actually, I found a really cute sit down one, about $600.
Okay, and does it say how many watts it is?
Let me click through these aggressive ads. Oh, and supposedly it's on sale from $900. Down to $570. Super cute. Here, I'll show you a picture. Similar vibe.
I feel like I've seen that one.
It's called a Hiboy, HIBOY.
Okay.
And 450 watts, makes a top speed of 22 miles per hour. 15-degree hills, also easily handled 14-inch wheels. And a large 10 amp hour lithium battery lasts 30 miles. Okay, I'm going to get one of these and race you.
Okay. Are those wheels spoked?
Yes. I mean, with like eight spokes.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out, does it look like there's like a Schrader valve, like to put air in them? Do they look
A
air-filled?
Schrader valve.
Yeah.
Look at the adults on them. Slightly more proportional.
You don't look nearly as goofy.
I'm going to race you, and I'm going to kick your butt. All right.
Does it have a headlight?
It doesn't have a tail light, I can tell you that. Or at least I don't think it does. It just has... No, I don't think it has any lights. Oh, no, there's a light on
We
here.
can fix that.
There is a light on the front.
I bet you
I don't know
isn't
that
as
it's good. It very well may not
But
be.
we can
I'm not
fix
here
that.
to sell it, but it doesn't... I don't think I see a Schrader valve. I mean, I could actually read it if I had planned ahead of time. Max range 31 miles, max load 220 pounds. Ooh, is there a max limitation on the Compacto?
Yeah, 265, I believe.
Okay, so it holds a little more. So you and a few dogs. Detachable basket, height adjuster handlebar, 5 to 6 hours charging time. So that would be a downfall.
Mm-hmm.
Max speed 22 miles per hour. You probably have a helmet on this
I
one.
want to know, though.
3 riding modes, 14-inch pneumatic tires. What's
pneumatic? That means it's going to be air. Yeah, so that's a plus. The 22 miles an hour and the 450 watts, I always question. Because unless they call out a secondary peak number, a lot of times they'll advertise the peak. So 450 watt peak is probably still a 250 watt hub motor like the Motocompacto. I don't remember what the amp hour battery is, but I will tell you that flat ground, when they say the Motocompacto will do 15 miles an hour, it'll do 15 miles an hour with me on it, which I haven't stepped on a scale recently, but probably 220, 225. And it wasn't like I had a tailwind.
Yeah.
I could hit that both directions on our street, and it has a slight incline. So downhill, slightly uphill.
It's going to ride a little different, but it just kind of like helps for comparison of like, well, what's industry standard? You know, what's it worth to the rider? And I think that's how you like buy almost anything. It's kind of fun to talk about something that's a little more like relatable for me, because I'm like, oh, like if I wanted to drop $500 and keep up with you, or have like a variance, like I like this little basket, you know, like,
well, and
it's cool to know
arguably
what the options are.
taller tires that are air-filled tires would probably be better mid-Ohio bike.
Yeah.
It also has a lot less body work.
30 miles. I wonder how many miles you, I don't want to say you as in you, but you as in general. The average
Would do
person
at
rides.
Mid-Ohio.
Yeah.
So a couple of people have been talking about that. I want to say NOCO brought that up maybe. Maybe it was Cleveland Moto. Someone was talking about that recently as a joke of like seeing how many miles you could do, but you're restricted to inside mid-Ohio.
Yeah. Yeah, no cheating.
Like, yeah. But,
Swiggy.
Yeah. But I don't know.
It's really, that would be really interesting just out of...
How many did we do? Probably
not very many.
10
You think?
at most.
You think that much?
No. I'm just saying on the high side.
There's no way we rode that much, because that little pit bike thing was like kind of horrible, and I probably rode like a mile total.
No, but I went back and forth from the campground to the car several times.
Yeah.
Which is basically like one end, not all the way to the furthest point from the campground, but darn close to it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to go through and just sit down with like an actual map, whether it be like Gmail or something, and kind of just do like, let's say it's 10 laps, you know, around the whole grounds, because I think just depending on how you live, obviously camping there, you wouldn't be riding back and forth from a vehicle. Very different experience. You know, we parked kind of like infield and rode outfield.
No, but the reality is something with like a 10-mile range would probably be the entire Vintage Days experience.
For a day or the week?
For the week.
Okay, that's what I wondered. I'm like, well, what would happen if you needed to charge it?
Well, generator, right?
Does the generator charge at like a consistent speed flow, like same as you would at home?
Yeah. So that leads me into one of the downfalls I've figured out so far. Mm-hmm. You cannot ride it while charging. When you plug in the charger, it stops the Motocompacto from accelerating.
Now explain to the people why that matters, because most people aren't gonna.
Because I had this fantastic idea in my head that I was going to get a little 700 to 800 watt gas generator and ride around with it on the Motocompacto and continuously charge it while I was riding it. And it would probably equate to something ridiculous like, I don't know, 150 miles to gallon, right?
To gallon?
To the gallon, yeah.
Okay, explain gallon to me.
What do you mean?
Oh, you're doing a gas generator.
Yes. That's what I'm saying, a gas generator. Yeah. The secondary
really ironic
idea,
to get an EV and then use gas to power
welcome to the Chevy Volt, which I talked about at one point. It is a range extended electric vehicle. Now, I'm just going to throw this in here.
Okay.
I had brought it up when we did the understanding EVs thing I talked about and kind of went through the range, spectrum of electric vehicles from weak hybrids to a full battery electric vehicle. Mm-hmm. And why I'm confused about range extended electric vehicles like the Chevy Volt and the BMW i3 with range extender not taking off. And since then, Dodge has announced the Ram, whatever they're calling it, I forget. And now I'm going to have to look it up. But they're coming out with a new Ram that is exactly that. And I have seen multiple different people across the internet recently discuss how the Chevy Volt was fantastic and GM killed it too early.
When did they kill it?
2018, I think.
Oh, I remember they had a bunch of them at that one lot we always walked past.
I was just...
And you
no,
really
they had cruises. They had cruises at that lot.
I thought they had
many
Volts
of them.
too.
No, I wish. In fact, one of the places I just saw it discussed was the WAN show, which is Linus Tech Tips on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about it because he bought one and loved it so much that when he was getting ready to get rid of it, he sold it to his company and they use it as their errand vehicle because it's perfect. 90% of the time, you're going to run full battery. And when you need to take it on a long trip, it gets like 50 miles to the gallon.
Oh, it's like a Prius.
Well, the difference with a Prius is the Prius you
electric.
can't. Well, they're hybrids, and they did finally come out with plug-in hybrids. But the difference is a plug-in hybrid or a strong hybrid has both an electric propulsion system and an internal combustion propulsion system. A range-extended electric vehicle, like the Volt, has no internal combustion propulsion system. Only the electric motors drive the vehicle, but it has a gas generator to recharge the batteries. So it's just like a Tesla if you had a generator hooked up to it.
What a concept. I wonder if Elon's going to come up with that in a few years.
I'm trying to find the name of that Ram.
Oh. Well.
Ram Charger. The Ram Charger.
Wait, so isn't there already a Charger, a Dodge?
Dodge Charger.
Are they the same company?
They used to be. They kind of still are.
That's what I wondered. So there's not a lawsuit with getting another car and calling it a Charger?
No, it's not called a Charger. It's a Ram Charger, one word. The Ram trucks, Ram Charger.
Oh, God.
Technically, Ram 1500 Ram Charger. So back to Motocompacto. The secondary idea was to get a, they call them different names, but like a portable power bank that has like AC outlets for a wall, like a wall outlet, and use that to extend the range of the Motocompacto. But again, when you plug the charger in, it stops moving. So some more research is going to be required on how to charge the battery while in motion.
Keep us posted.
Yes. So I guess what else have you thought about it now that it's been sitting in the living room for several days?
Yeah, I feel like you finally have an inside motorcycle that you've been wanting many Christmases now. You're hopefully very proud of yourself.
Yes, it's getting Christmas lights.
I've wondered.
Yes.
Oh, you're just going to tie it down.
No. I'm going to get battery-powered ones so I can just ride around with them on it.
Oh, please make sure they blink.
Yes.
Really trip people out when they see you on our street.
Yes.
Okay.
You also add in here, what now? Am I going to decorate it?
I have what now? What are you going to do with it? Like, what's its feature? Like, now what? Like, it's not really a vehicle of the burbs. Like, when do you actually plan on riding this thing?
So, I had already told you, I was trying to figure out how to ride it to work, but there's not really a safe path that
we don't have enough sidewalks. We're too burby.
But I can take it to work and like ride it to get food because there's sidewalks all the way down the street, right? And there's the cubby in the middle that I can put a bag of food and a drink in.
Oh, God, don't spill your drink.
No, I'll get something bottled.
Or you need to get like a cup holder for it.
Or I could 3D print one.
It's true. There you go.
I see a whole line of Motocompacto accessories coming.
All 5 people are going to love them.
Yeah. Well, until February when the rest of them show up. Oh.
It seems weird that it's months between
Speaking of which, another thing I forgot. Story from Parts Counter guy. Apparently a guy called and was like yelling at him because he did not pre-order one a month ago like the rest of us insane people. And was frustrated because he had, like, whatever it took, had to have one by Christmas for his wife. Which was just mind-blowing to me.
Did he give the air quotes for wife? Or, are we just assuming that no one's wife is, like, having a temper tantrum if she doesn't get one?
I just want to...
Unless it's
I'm
one
not
of those,
trying to be sexist here.
Gifts where it's honey, I got you a house cleaner for Christmas because I'm the one who cleans the house.
Right. Like, I know there are women really into motorcycles. But the idea that there's a woman out there who is just, and I guess it's valid.
It's possible. I don't want to say it's valid.
I think
would say
about
it's possible.
you, and like I can't imagine you being that excited
About anything.
about a Motocompacto.
No, he's definitely worked really hard to work up that lie.
Or he's really excited to get this for her, and she's gonna be like, "Yeah, what do I do with that?"
How much did you spend? Because that's what I would say. It was what?
Yeah. Well, you know what's going to happen because he's not going to get one through any of the dealers. He's going to be one of the people that go buy them on eBay because right now they're being resold on eBay for about $2,000.
Oh, shoot. Missed opportunity, I guess.
Yeah, about 100% markup right there.
Ugh.
Yeah.
You could buy a second one.
Yeah. I also saw someone auction one off. Let me do the math real quick. It was 75 tickets at $25 a ticket. $1,875 he got out of that Motocompacto.
Well, shipping and stuff too.
No, I believe it was pickup or you pay for shipping.
Is that legal? I guess you can
Raffles,
do that.
not really. Sort of, but not really.
Shouldn't be, but they are.
No. Depends on the state you're in, and there's a bunch of.
I wonder if he sold all the tickets.
No one follows. He did. Yep.
Well, I guess if you bought all the tickets for $1,800, that's still cheaper than the other one.
Cheaper than eBay.
Yikes!
Yep.
People are just, I don't know. I mean, as much as I'm like, wow, that's slimy and gross, there are just people that are really hurting right now. The unemployment rate. Yeah. I don't know if it's as insane as it feels because every time I go on LinkedIn, just so many people I know are unemployed, and like, part of me hates that it's happening, and part of me totally understands. You know.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you know, if could be a business, if you need money, like, you got to do what you got to do out there.
Yeah. All right. So last bit before I drag the entire show into a Motocompacto show. Plans to decorate it. I've been thinking in my head about if I were to vinyl wrap it, what would I have it wrapped with? Not 100% on that.
Too bad it's not metal. You could just use magnets.
Yeah. I could put metal inside the body and put magnets on it.
Is it funny to put bullet holes on things still or no?
I don't think so.
I saw a car with real ones a few weeks ago. I'm still in shock.
The one thing I had looked up before actually picking it up was I was looking into programmable like LED boards so I could have changeable images on the side of it.
There you go. You could get people to pay you advertising.
Yeah.
And ride it around while you get lunch.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see.
I'll be excited if you find a way to integrate it into your workflow.
Yeah, I'm just going to start writing it to work. I'm going to get like...
know what you're going to do with it.
Safety yellow suit. Get like a bright orange helmet so no one hits me on the side of a 45-mile-an-hour state route as I struggle to get up the hill at like 5 miles an hour.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah. Good times.
Ugh.
All right.
One last question.
Oh, yeah.
Was it worth it?
So far. Still pretty cool.
You've ridden it a total of like a mile.
That's a good one. Well, no, not according to the app. The app
is drunk. It should go home.
So I have not gone anywhere close to using half a battery worth of distance on this thing.
I would say you've probably gone like a mile or two on it.
Yeah. So it came like half charged. I rode it up and down the street. You rode it up and down the street.
Yeah, but not even that far.
I charged it overnight. Now, that night when I plugged it in, the app registered 9 miles.
I mean, so it means up and down the street. It's literally like 5 suburban driveways.
Yeah, I mean, at most...
like not even a city block.
Half
probably.
A mile.
Yeah.
Half a mile traveled, max, that night. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's like a weird calibration thing. Maybe there was like... test mileage, they like spin the tire, and I'm like, well, I did kind of spin the tire a couple times, maybe that registered. 9 miles, hard to understand, but sure. So charged it to full. The lowest it had gotten was like 88%, and part of that was me just like leaving it on, trying to understand the app's integration with it,
trying to get it up the driveway.
Yeah. Let's see, where's it at now? Yeah, so I had brought it back in, plugged it in, the app said 26 miles. Charged it back to full. The app now says 27 miles. So it picked up a mile just by charging.
Wait, so we went from what, 9 to 27 miles?
Yes.
Crushing it.
Yeah.
And you haven't even put it in your car, so it's not like it's like geo like tracking or anything.
Correct. Yeah, it's not like it is screwed up because it thinks
literally
it's in motion.
has only traveled on the Earth's axis.
Yes. Yep. So, yeah, it thinks it's gone 27 miles, which is helpful because one of the trophies in the app, you have to ride it 5,800 miles to get. The seat's not going to last that long.
Your butt ain't gonna last that long.
No.
But
someone's got to figure out how to
fold
put
down and tuck in?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not super easy to just see
Well,
if you
not
can get
if you want it to fold into it. But I do think I want to try and fit one of those like bigger bicycle seats that have like the springs onto it somehow.
You should just go take the one off of your one
I
on
know.
your bike.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
just
like you're
have to
riding it
figure a
right
way
now.
to fabricate it onto there.
Or you might have an extra one.
Well, I was gonna reach out to the dealer and see like what a second seat assembly costs, because if it's not ridiculous, that way I can like have one that folds in and then like have one with a nice seat on it.
Oh, you have to go to the dealer to get it?
It's not, that part is not listed online yet, so
Gotcha.
I think so.
Okay.
All right, you want
On
to
to
start? You
other
want me to
things.
start?
Have at it.
AIM Expo. They've sold all the booth space, at least for now. They're working with one of their vendors to try and figure out a way to get more booth space in there. But yeah, they have sold out the booth space currently for the 2024 show.
It kind of sounded like this might be the first time since COVID they did that. I wonder if it's changed location since COVID. Do you know if it's always been in Vegas?
It is not always in Vegas. It's in Ohio sometimes.
Oh,
Yeah, Columbus.
Well, shucks.
Yeah. So yeah, my kind of thought was we're returning to trade shows. Like trade shows, as far as companies are returning to trade shows, consumers are attending more shows, it feels like. Is this what we're going to expect? Are we going to see the return of more trade shows and more companies exhibiting at trade shows as consumer patterns kind of normalize to pre-pandemic norms?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it kind of feels that way.
Yeah, I think some people, or some industries, I'm not going to say people, I think some industries have changed their buying tactics too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like conferences seem like they're struggling. Even though, like...
Some.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, it's just... I think there's just... Everyone's in amidst a shift.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to really know, because whenever I look at these examples, it's always, like, just one. You know? One thing. I know, like, the medical trade shows are pretty much back alive and well, but everyone's just a little more careful about where they invest, which maybe they should have been that way in the beginning. You know, really making sure that time and money spent is well worth it. But I don't know. I guess it'd be interesting to see how it compares to, like, vendors and size, how it actually compares to previous years.
I think
it just seems like the people who wrote the article were just really excited to go to Vegas. And most people, like, once you've been to Vegas for some sort of show or something, you're not excited to go to Vegas anymore. Like, it wears people down pretty quick.
Yeah. So I'll tell you this. The kind of viewpoint I read this through was the motorcycle industry is similar in some ways as far as what it experienced during the pandemic to my day job, which is in the pool and hot tub industry. We, for a while, could have sold anything we could get our hands on.
Mm-hmm.
And the motorcycle world was kind of the same way. At least from an outsider looking in to the extent of my knowledge and what I've heard dealers say and have heard from other people. I'm thinking there's a renewed effort to court dealers because there are fewer sales to go around again, which is the same thing that is happening in my industry. We're seeing reduction and product lines again, because there were a lot of companies that added multiple extra brands that they did not carry pre-pandemic because that brand guaranteed them they could get product in their door.
Gotcha.
Right.
Quick.
And now I know like my dealer reps are out prospecting again and traveling and trying to sign up dealers again. So I think that's probably why the show's already sold out. Good for them. That's exciting.
Yeah, that's definitely something worth using as like marketing leverage as you want to sell. Like, well, they don't sell tickets. So obviously they probably make most of the money from the vendors. Like,
Yeah.
who knows? I don't know if it's nonprofit or what.
I don't know if it's free for dealers, is it?
It can't be. They got to make money somehow.
Well, I know.
There's no
but
way
you could
it
make
would
it
be
from
free.
both ends. You could charge vendors and dealers.
Oh, wait, what's the difference between a vendor and a dealer? Aren't
So
some of the
this is a
dealers vendors?
dealer-only show. It's not open to the public.
Oh,
So you have to be a dealer or a media person to get in.
Oh, you mean they charge the attendee dealers?
Yeah, not the brand that's exhibiting as a vendor.
Yeah, and there's another type of attendee too. Well, maybe it was just dealers. It was media dealers.
They
and I
have
thought there was a
dealer /
third.
retailer, media, exhibitor registration, and then non-dealer registration, which falls into some weird categories.
I'm sure they charge vendors too, especially someone's making a bunch of money off of the actual vendors because I know conferences are just expensive.
Yeah. Honda has shared a bit about their two-wheeled electric plans. And this was interesting. Several outlets covered it. ADV Rider, Ride Apart, Power Sports Business.
I thought it was interesting. The second article he posted that they're, I guess, like, do you just say CES?
Correct. That's my favorite thing. CES, if you're not familiar, formerly was the Consumer Electronics Show.
Right. Which
They
was,
are
like,
no
what,
longer
like,
that.
TVs and tech and like
Yeah.
all
Video games were
nerd
launched there,
stuff.
new computers, right?
Yeah.
It is no
just
longer the
seems really
Consumer
big.
Electronics Show. It is now known as specifically CES, which is hilarious to me.
I thought
But-
it referenced the name in here. It just still says Consumer Electronics Show.
Oh, do they?
Mhm.
I know for a while CES was trying to remove their tie to the name Consumer Electronics Show.
I wonder how hard it is
Maybe
to
they're
get
back
into
to
that show as a attendee.
It used to be public. I don't know if it is again or not. It went non-public for a while. Yeah, no, their website, they refer to it as International CES. They do not say Consumer Electronics Show anywhere. It is CES by the Consumer Technology
If you're
Association.
going to pick an acronym, can you make one that you can say out loud as like a word?
Well, you used to be able to. But,
CES?
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But yeah, so Honda, the reason you brought that up is they have said that they're going to launch its new EV lineup at CES on January 9th. They have outlined that they're going to introduce 30 new EVs globally by 2030 and are targeting a sales volume around 2 million units. They also, if I pull the other one up here, a little more specifically, will be introducing more than 10 models by 2025, where the images they showed, the question is are these just meant to be representative images, or are these actual silhouettes of models they plan on launching? Because if they are actual silhouettes, it's interesting.
There's a lot of scooters, if I remember correctly. There it is.
Decent amount of scooters. There are what look to be naked bikes. There appears to be something similar to the ADV 750, which we do not get in the U.S. market. In the by 2020 or 2030 models, there's most definitely the silhouette of a Goldwing.
Let me count.
What appears to be probably an Africa Twin, maybe the Transalp, a Cub, a scooter with a silhouette similar to like a Vespa.
There's like 31 on here.
Yeah. A Dax or a Trail 70, depending on which market we're talking. And at least 2 dirt bikes. All the way on the left?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, those are ones already out in different markets.
Yeah,
they
it
don't
looks
offer
like they might
anything
actually be
US
like
market yet.
it's like a sticker book. It's like
Yeah.
here's the empty ones.
Yeah. So the idea of them having a fully electrified Goldwing is intriguing. That is a space that there have been limited entries so far into the electric cruiser / electric touring space. And I've heard a few people talk about like, well, why don't you just take something like a Harley, Electric Glide and just stuff the saddlebags full of batteries? Well, you lose the storage, but that is an intriguing idea. If you pack the whole frame and all the saddlebags full of batteries, like what does that range actually look like? It's interesting.
Yep. I guess you got a year to save up for it.
What? 2030.
Oh, I think it's 2025.
10 of them will be introduced by 2025, 30 models by 2030. The Goldwing is in the 2030 silhouettes.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Plenty of time.
Triumph is going to be, it appears, from some spy shots. At some point, we've got a Thruxton 400, which is interesting for them to work on a mini Thruxton of sorts when they're currently phasing out the current Thruxton. The current Thruxton is in there. They're making the final edition. So if they don't feel that there's demand for the Thruxton, why are they working on a 400cc version of it? Seems odd.
Yeah, I can't answer that.
Yeah. It was more rhetorical than anything, but
I felt like
it's interesting. It's not a bad looking bike. The 400 platform's intriguing so far. Decent reviews coming from it. But it's going to be weird if they kill the Thruxton and then bring out a 400 Thruxton. So your only option is now a 400. Or they bring the Thruxton back again. We'll see. This is the most exciting news to me. I am a fan of a lot of different motorsports, if I can talk. I've made it all the way through the Snog, and I'm moving on to the Tequila Sunrise. So,
are you slurring, or
we'll see.
Are you
not yet? But we may get there. So I follow NASCAR fairly closely. There's a team that entered NASCAR a few years ago, Trackhouse, who've made really decent splash the past couple years. They're competing more than I think most of us thought they'd be able to compete for such a new team. The interesting part about Trackhouse, the 2 partners that own it, Justin Marks and Pitbull.
Yeah, I literally was like, read that like 4 times and then Googled it because I was so confused.
I think it was only mentioned in the one article. And I feel like a lot of people were going to gloss over this fact.
Well, they used his real name.
They did, and then mentioned, what was it? The recording
like
artist, also known as
the Grammy
award-winning recording artist Pitbull. So Trackhouse, though, NASCAR team right now, also has a couple other small ventures. Now has a MotoGP team. This is one of the, I think the only other American team entry is in Moto 2, maybe. There's been a definite lack of American involvement in MotoGP as of recent. So I'm really excited for this. I'm excited for it just from the American team and MotoGP angle. I'm also excited because they're operating one of the Aprilia satellite teams.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if the Aprilia appearance, or may not be an appearance, had any hype for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's... Is it the Ducati? No. But the bike's performing decent. It'll be interesting to see if they stay chained to Aprilia, if they move to a different manufacturer, if they're even allowed to, because they basically took over an existing Aprilia satellite team because one of the teams was forced out for, as they said in a few of the articles, quote, repeated infractions and breaches of the participation agreement. So that made the hole that Aprilia could step in, or sorry, Trackhouse could step into and take over this Aprilia satellite team. We'll see what they do. I have high hopes because of what they've been able to do in NASCAR. I will be following MotoGP way more closely this year, mainly to follow the Trackhouse team.
When is that season?
Summer-ish.
Okay.
Yeah. Like most racing series.
Well, I guess that makes sense. I just wasn't sure.
Yeah. Vespa has won a court case.
Woohoo.
Did you read this article?
I heavily skimmed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently there was like a knockoff in China or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the first. Probably won't be the last.
Yeah, it was just like so blatant a knockoff. That I mean,
The funny part, did you
sure
see the
there are.
picture of it?
Yeah, but I didn't like have it side by side with
Yeah.
the Vespa to compare.
It was not a knockoff of like their current models as much as kind of their older body style. Nonetheless, a Vespa copy. But what do you feel about them just getting their entire... This isn't like a logo trademark case.
No.
This is like, you were copying the essence of our company.
Well, I mean, don't you make patents for products you put out too? Like, wouldn't that like aspect be protected to an extent? Or I guess maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends.
I feel like there's some sort of law of ethics with that. You
Well,
can't
I
just
think
go
that's
around
part
and
of it.
duping everything without any repercussions.
Yeah, China hasn't seemed to really care about that for a while. And I think that's why this case is interesting. Originally, they had lost.
Like, some accountability is good, though. You know?
Yeah.
I wonder who... Obviously, Vespa, like, initiated that. I wonder how much money they put into it.
Probably
A lot.
a decent amount, because this was a 10-year legal battle. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the Chinese company's name. It was in regards to their scooter, which was named ZNEN. Again, no idea on pronunciation. Yeah, I'm not even going to try. I don't know.
It might just be letters.
Yeah.
Because it's all caps.
But in 2014, the European Union Intellectual Property Office recognized the uniqueness of their design and acknowledged that design as a trademark. However, the Chinese company then won in 2018 the cancellation of Vespa's trademark.
I wonder what that process is like. That's weird.
Yeah. So for them to now win and basically get... now this other company's prevented from selling their scooter, at least in the European Union. It's a win for them. I think they already have pretty decent market share just from recognition. They're one of the most recognized brands globally in the two-wheeled world.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, I think within most of Europe, since it's from Italy. And I don't think the average person is going to mistake that scooter for a Vespa, especially when you're looking at current modern Vespas. Yeah. I don't know.
Good for them.
Intriguing case.
Good job, Vespa.
On to the last one I've got.
Mm-hmm.
You watched this video.
Mm-hmm. 10 minutes.
Yep.
It was
What'd you
sweet.
think?
I thought it was interesting that, so this girl from Europe,
The UK.
the UK,
Her name
rides
is Emma.
all the way across, like, past Russia and back. Well, what I thought was interesting is she didn't plan on coming back. It sounds like her brother got engaged while she was out there, and then she had to race back for his wedding. And so she kind of, like, ended up back here.
Yeah.
But it was, like, it was really sweet. I think it was, like, her dad, who's, like, a mechanic, as he's interviewed and stuff, and he at first was like, well, I really didn't think this was, like, the right vehicle, but obviously it was, because she did it, so, like, good for her, you know, and he keeps her little, like, newspaper clipping in his workshop, and it's all sweet.
Yeah. The exciting part for me was while she was in Mongolia, she adopted a street dog who she then named Molly.
Mm-hmm.
And Molly rode with her through the rest of her journey eastward, and then all the way back west to the UK.
Yeah, this dog just, like, sat in a little basket. I mean, kudos for having room to put, like, a dog in the back. But she, like, taught, I don't know, I guess Molly... Was it Molly? Yeah. Had, like, neck problems. So I'm sure that she had to, like, wait for that to, like, clear up. And then she bends, kind of crouches down, and Molly, like, jumps up on her knee and then jumps up on the back of the seat.
Yeah.
In order to, like, fit in her little leather suitcase ride-along situation. It's very sweet.
It is very sweet.
The dog is kind of, I don't know if she's a mutt, but she's kind of like a small, kind of looks like a teeny tiny border collie situation.
Yeah, some type of collie mix.
Or Australian shepherd type deal.
Yeah,
very sweet, small dog. England looks so beautiful. Like, the house that she grew up in, it was just, it was gorgeous. But I'm, like, looking at the roads, and I'm like, yeah, that would be fun to ride on, because they're, like, these really nice backcountry roads. There's no other vehicles on them. You're riding through this green. It's, like, so serene. And then I'm, like, thinking about American highways.
Just the picture, the footage they showed you at that time.
Well, in my head, it was the entire road. It was perfect. She was the only one on it. And then you think about American highways with our giant freaking trucks and everyone going, like, 100 miles an hour. And you're just like, wow, that is not what I looked for. But it was nice that she showed the part where she had to, like, manually cross where, like, a landslide had fallen.
Yeah, she was the only vehicle that could get through.
And they, like, tried to tell her no. And she's like, well, it was so light. You just rally up a bunch of children, like, local children, and you just, like,
pushed it.
They pushed it through the rocks.
Yeah, they pushed it up across where the landslide did come down and block the road, because her vehicle was the only one light enough to, like, push across the landslide.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Like, obviously, it was, 3,000 kilometers?
No, I don't know. Something like that. I forget what the actual
total distance was. What's the miles on that?
Oh, let's see here.
I wonder, compared to, like, Long Way Up, it's 1,800 miles, almost 1,900.
Was it 3,000 kilometers that she did?
So it's...
No, 30,000.
Oh, well, that makes a difference.
30,000 kilometers.
So 18,000 miles.
Yeah, in 19 countries.
They definitely need to make, like, a movie out of it instead of just a 10-minute clip, because there's a lot of, like, how long did it take her, you know? Like, there's so much adventure there, but I can't help but compare it to, like, Long Way Up, and it's like, I'm glad that Vespa at least made that video for her. Hopefully they did more than that.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
edited the video for her, which was, like, very well done. But it's like, that's really freaking cool. Is it because she was by herself? She didn't market it, you know? Is it because she's female? Like, what did she not do right to get, like, notoriety? Like, I don't know. I feel like,
yeah, I mean, she's getting some recognition now. I don't think she did it for the recognition. More similar to Long Way Round than Long Way Up, because they started in the UK and went all the way across Asia and then across the US back to the UK. She stopped short of crossing North America. But
east to west of the lower 48 is about 2,700 miles.
Yeah, so that's the only bit she didn't do.
I mean, didn't do.
In the Long Way Round, they went from the UK across all of Europe and Asia, then across all of North America, back to the UK.
Oh, they went all the way around the US, you mean? Oh.
No, they went all the way around the world.
Yeah, okay, that's what I meant.
Yeah. She did all of Europe and Asia. So the only thing she missed was North America.
Well, she did it
the
by
difference, she did it by herself.
Yeah.
She had no support crew like they had.
Yeah, they had people that's like, oh, we got a flat tire. We've got a vehicle that we can lean on or something like that. Like there was almost a dozen people on that adventure.
Yeah. There's something to be said for the robustness of a Vespa. And
she didn't talk about any of the mechanical issues she might have ran in. I mean, she really didn't have time. I don't think she had many, but the mechanic, which I don't know that was her dad. I'll have to rewatch the video. But it was definitely her mechanic was like talking about how at first he was kind of unsure about it. And then it kind of started to make more sense of, they're just generally problem free. Pretty simple. The front and rear tires are interchangeable. So there's a lot of pros to using one as a long distance adventure machine. She had specifically a Vespa AT4. So 4-stroke 150. Trying to see if I can figure out who that guy was. Okay, so her mom was like the sweet, cutesy little gardener. Oh, and I didn't see the guy. Watch it and find out. But she got a doggy out of it.
Yep, so, she got a dog.
Love that for her. She named her Vespa Gretel, which is also very European and lovely. But yeah, kind of cool. I wonder what her background is. It sounds like she kind of started a bakery now, but it'd be interesting to see how, I don't know, like career-wise and stuff, what she's up to.
Yeah.
Like how do you learn from it? Yeah, she definitely seems very humble. She didn't really talk about herself a whole lot.
I'm trying to watch this and see if they don't really give him a title. He just shows up like standing in the workshop.
Yeah, that's what was weird. It was right after her mom was introduced. And I was like, all right, who's the dude?
Yeah, I know there's a picture at the end of her and her dad. Let me see if I can get to that.
I guess that's probably not the most important thing.
Yeah. But either way, pretty cool story. There's your feel-good story of the week. Or makes you feel like you need to ride more. Because she just took a Vespa across most of the world.
Ride far, rescue dogs.
Yep, exactly.
That could be our new
outro.
Motto.
Yeah, ride far, rescue dogs. I dig it. I can get down with that.
All right. Anything else? Oh, we have Motocompacto scooter stickers still on pre-order.
Pre-orders are rolling in. Sticker sales are happening.
It's happening.
Shipping stuff out like crazy.
Etsy has unleashed us from jail.
Yep.
We are free. We sold out all of our Ooh Shiny stickers. We had to place more orders, so those are on the way.
Ooh Shiny stickers are on order. Those will be restocked
next
soon.
week if USPS gets their pieces together. So the scooter or the Motocompacto ones are a little delayed, but you know what? The holidays.
Get your order in early. If you want any chance to get them by Christmas. I can't promise it yet.
No, we can't promise anything with USPS.
Well, yeah, both directions. We're hoping the stickers show up mid-December, meaning soon-ish.
Next week. ASAP. But like I said, you never can tell. We don't want to make some empty promises.
Yep. So Motocompacto stickers, the whole rest of the store.
Great stocking stuffers. Great. Hey, I'm thinking about you, but I don't want to send it. Let us know. We'll send it to them for them.
Pairs well with a motorcycle-related gift card.
Or just a sticker.
Yeah.
Send us stickers.
Yeah.
All right.
That it?
That's it.
Okay. Well, I'll leave you with this. If you're cold, they're cold. Bring your motorcycles inside. And until then, see you next week.
Bye.